Hi everyone. I hope you're all in very good spirits and the preparation for board exam is spot on. So today it's a kind of an emergency video because someone very close to me wanted help with Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. So I'm going to make a quick and a summary of this poem for you. It's one of these poems in our book of 12th class, which are from the modern English poets, like American poet. She is, of course, Adrienne Rich. So the first thing you do is learn the spelling very well of all your poets and all your poems. The titles like Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, the apostrophe S is because the panel of tigers is hers because she's created it. But in your answers where, a specific question as regards the protagonist is asked, the protagonist is Jennifer. She's Aunt Jennifer. Let's be clear on that. So you're not always going to write Aunt Jennifer's. It's just in reference to her creation that's Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, right? The poet Adrienne Rich, as is given in your book, 1929. She was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. She died in 2012, right? So basically, you have to understand that she was one of those, very staunch advocates of feminist rights. So she, spoke for women. She was herself a lesbian. She spoke for those rights also. But she was an essayist, a poet, American origin, and she is one of those very well-known, American poets who wrote against the oppression of women. Okay, so in this poem, it's a very short three-paragraph poem. She talks about how a woman finds herself restrained. Now, the words I want you to learn here for her, the keywords. Like I say, every topic you are doing, please get your keywords prepared. So those keywords are the important words which give us the gist of the entire thing, and you can use them in your answers, right? So in this case, the keywords are the oppression, suppression, constraints, demands, right? Aunt Jennifer finds that, and she here stands for, she is symbolizing all such women who, due to society's expectations of a certain way a married woman is supposed to be, find themselves oppressed. It might not be a major oppression where someone is really torturing or, like that. It could be any small thing like she's not able to pursue whatever she loves to do. She's not able to perhaps wear the kind of clothes she would like to. She's not able to talk in a certain manner. Even small things like that, which are restricting her, which are somewhere kind of, taking away her absolute freedom. You see, it's this one life that we have, and we would like it to be free and absolutely, like, not kind of based on other people's expectations. You would want to live it a certain way. So, basic premise or the protagonist of this poem is a character which called Aunt Jennifer. Aunt Jennifer is a woman who finds herself suppressed, oppressed, and somehow she finds herself restrained, because of the confines, the demands, and constraints of married life. All right. And she, on a panel, she is embroidering. Panel is a long piece of fabric or any kind of a wall hanging you can imagine. So on that, she is embroidering. कढ़ाई करना जिसको बोलते हैं. So she is embroidering tigers, and the picture shows that tigers are just prancing about, jumping, full of energy, etc. They are prancing across the screen, right? The fact that she's chosen that subject for her embroidery through her expression in art, she is actually letting out her inner feelings and desires that she would like to be like the tigers. So we'll take out words for the tigers and what the tiger sort of symbolizes. Whereas on the other hand, second paragraph tells us that Aunt herself is very weak and feeble, contrasting with the tigers. And in the last paragraph, it tells us that it's extremely sad that Aunt Jennifer, even after she dies, is not going to be free of the way she lived her life. Okay, so basically, the constraints on a woman due to demands and pressures of married life. So, if you see about the poet Adrienne Rich, 1929, like I said, she passed on in 2012, was born in USA. She is widely known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet and theorist, contemporaries of our current times. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collections of essays and other writings. A strong resistance to racism and militarism echoes through her work. The poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, underline, learn it for your theme line, addresses the constraints of married life a woman experiences. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across the screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So, Aunt Jennifer's tigers, they are her tigers because she is embroidering them. They are prancing. Prancing is an energetic movement full of jumps, etc., like the animals, they move. They are prancing across the screen. They are bright yellow colored. Topaz is a precious stone which is yellow in color. So is the tiger. So this reference or a metaphor of topaz has been used for the tiger. They are bright yellow colored. Denizens means inhabitants of a world of green. The world of green is the jungles. So there is this kind of a contrast or a play of colors here, bright yellow in a lush green forest. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. So how she has made them on the panel is like these tigers are jumping across and perhaps there would be certain men depicted under the tree and the tigers are absolutely oblivious of these men. They don't bother. They don't care. They don't seem to be scared of the presence of the men. So the reference here, the oblique reference is that maybe the women become conscious in the presence of men. It could not be a very extreme change in behavior, even slight. You are not able to be your original self. You are conscious, your behavior changes, your mannerism changes, something or the other happens. But for the tiger, they do not fear the men beneath the tree. What is this beneath the tree? Perhaps it's on the panel, the picture that she has depicted, that the tiger is absolutely oblivious of anybody else. It could be men beneath the tree. It's not scared of them. Right? In fact, the tigers, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So the words I want you to remember is they move, the movement. And also picturize in your mind what you've seen on National Geographic and elsewhere, how the tigers move. With absolute certainty, confidence, grace. Chivalry, of course, is how you behave towards others, especially how the male gender behaves gracefully towards the female gender. But here you can just remember the tigers move full of strength and confidence and grace and poise. So from para 1, we take away that her creation is a bright yellow tiger. That bright yellow tiger is energetic. Prance is the word for energy also. That bright yellow tiger is fearless. Fearless because it does not fear even the men beneath the tree. And that bright yellow tiger is smooth, it's confident, it's graceful. So the words once again, fearless, ferocious, graceful, confident, absolutely certain, certainty, confidence, you can say. So learn 4-5 adjectives for the tigers and then now we come to Aunt Jennifer. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. Fingers fluttering, as you know, is alliteration, repetition of similar consonant sounds in close together words. So her fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. She's sitting and doing that embroidery. And through that, in the movement, when you have to pull the thread, ivory, from the animal's, so elephant's tusk, the needle is made of ivory. She cannot even do that simple act of pulling the needle without her fingers fluttering. So the fingers fluttering is showing us over here her physical weakness and the feeble mental state. Just remember that she is both physically and mentally weak and feeble. So the words are weak and feeble, physically as well as mentally. So her fingers are sort of, fluttering, like shaking like that. She lacks confidence, absolutely contrasting with her creation, that's the tiger. So for herself, she is weak, she is submissive. Learn these words, write them down, check out the correct spellings for these. Weak, submissive, feeble. She is mentally and physically disturbed. So she cannot even pull the needle. Her fingers, they shake. Right? The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Massive weight. A wedding ring would be a ring like this. And it's, the wedding band, it symbolizes marriage. Right? For the Christian households, of course. So that wedding band need not be very heavy. The heavy is the burden that she feels because of her marriage. So you underline massive weight. Here you say burden. burden that she feels because of that promise of marriage, which is symbolized through the ring. So uncle's wedding band, certain books, certain places they've written that the uncle tortures her and all that. That's taking it to a lot of extreme. I don't want you to go there. It's just that she does feel suppressed. She feels that she's not able to live absolutely freely like the tigers, perhaps, She is curved. Her desires somewhere or the other have been suppressed. Right? So she finds that all that she has to do as a dutiful wife, because the society demands it out of a married woman, that is somewhere taking away her own individuality and her own kind of essence, her own sense of freedom. So she finds that ring, which of course symbolizes marriage, here becomes a burden for her. So the massive weight is a burden. You have to take it like that, burden, right? That sits very heavily upon her hand. She finds that burden heavy to carry. Throughout her life, she has carried it. Most of the women, they do carry it, but perhaps most of them feel the burden as well, which has now been pointified over here in this poem, written away by Adrian Rich, somewhere, in the late 90s, 1900s, not this, the previous one. So women have been feeling all these kind of emotions right through. Last paragraph, when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. This is the enormity. Enormity का मतलब है कितना बड़ा kind of, this is the enormity of the oppression the women face. It has been highlighted in the last paragraph. Imagine that even after she's dead, the marks of her lifetime of oppression will be on her. She'll not be free. That's really, really sad. If you want a kind of a pleasant ending to this poem, it's not happening. The reader is being kind of, shocked with the revelation that even after she dies, the hands which have the terrified hands, we'll come to transferred epithet, the hands, she's been scared throughout her life, she's been oppressed, her desires have not, she's not been allowed to live freely how she would have wanted to. And even after she dies, the ordeals that she was mastered by will still, the impression of those ordeals will be on her. She will not be completely free. Terrified hands, a transferred epithet. Epithet is a describing word. So terrified, usually negative. Terrified, right? Terrified means very, very, very scared. So who's very, very, very scared here? Not her hands, she herself. So I've shifted terrified from where it should have been in the sentence to somewhere else. I transfer it and I say that when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie. So that is something we call transferred epithet, a describing word which I have transferred from where it should be to elsewhere in the sentence. So shock of the statement is, even after she dies, all the ordeals, troubles, whatever, really, really troubled her throughout her lifetime, marks of that troubled life will still be on her. Right? The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. The shocking part is, or you can say here somewhere the poet has also highlighted the longevity of art and the, of course, contrast to her own life and death. She has lived in a certain constrained manner. Even after she dies, those marks will be upon her. She will not be free. The tigers that she has created on that long panel, they will always be proud and unafraid. It's an embroidery on a panel. It's not changing its colors or expressions. It's going to be like that. And to us, we understand that art is sort of immortal. Whatever has been created, that creation will remain as it is. And whereas the woman has lived a certain way, she would die also still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Right? Coming back to the keywords and points. So the theme line is that the poem addresses constraints of a married life, that of a woman, because of the demands and constraints that society puts on her through marriage. Right? Aunt Jennifer symbolizes all such women who find themselves somewhere kind of trapped and suppressed due to demands of marriage. Aunt Jennifer is weak, feeble. She is mentally and physically very, very feeble, and in that state of mind, she finds herself that she's not been able to live the life she wanted to. She's not been free. She is embroidering tigers, which symbolize fearlessness, ferociousness, confidence, grace. Those tigers are bright yellow. They are inhabitants of a green forest. They are not scared. They are territorial, but they are not scared of men beneath the tree, meaning they are fearless. Right? Whereas Aunt Jennifer, even as she is embroidering, her fingers are shivering. She is weak and feeble, mentally as well as physically. The burden of the wedding ring sits very heavy. She carries it in a very heavy manner. And even after she dies, the imprint of a troubled life will be there on her, whereas the tigers that she has created will forever go on, prancing, proud and unafraid. All right, so this is the summary of the poem. You have to go through the keywords and write them down, write down the theme line. And tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be telling you how to tackle the long answers. Okay, so all the very best.